faces. Maybe I should change that to familiar faces. Sorry. Especially on such a beautiful summer day when we can all be doing something outside. When we were thinking about doing something for my mom, we were looking at dates, thinking what day could we do this without interfering with your beautiful summer days. It's our family's pleasure to welcome all here today. So thank you again for all coming today. I want to take a few moments today to say a few words and share some fond memories of my mom, and then introduce you to a few family members who would also like to share some fond memories with you. I might stumble a little bit along the way. For those that know me, my name is Glenn Cookson. I am the favorite son. At least that's how my mom felt when we were alone. I can also hear my mom saying to my wife, "Oh, Glennie was never a moment's problem," which my wife would kind of just roll her eyes. And on the way home, she'd say, "How much did you pay your mom to say something like that?" My mom loved me around family. It was probably her most favorite thing to do, besides playing euchre, pegs and jokers, which they would play for hours. My mom was a fierce euchre player and was very animated. Even after her stroke, she still wanted to play. My mom also loved to laugh a lot, and I liked to make her laugh. She actually made me feel like I was funny. I made her laugh many times in the hospital. One time, she actually spit her food all over herself. I was so relieved when she spit it out. I was very thankful. I didn't want to make her choke at that moment, because I thought that would be a bad memory. Unfortunately, the stroke impacted her sense of taste and made it difficult for her to swallow textured foods properly. So almost every time we give her a spoonful of hospital pureed food, which honestly is not very good, my mom would raise her hand in protest and sternly say, "Fire the chef, this tastes like shit." And everybody that knows my mom knows she doesn't talk like that. For her to speak like that was totally out of character for her. Her taste buds must have been really impaired by the stroke. I had to tell her many times during the visits with her how we kept firing the chef. I'd even tell her that I could see another chef being escorted out to the parking lot by the hospital security from her hospital window. She kept craving Costco hot dogs. We were trying all different things, baby food and so on, but she kept coming back to the Costco hot dog. So Colleen had a brilliant idea that we could puree her Costco hot dogs along with one. So the blender went in the blender, got all mixed up and everything else. Unfortunately, that was also a fail, and she wanted to fire the chef for the Costco. I was very fortunate to then spend lots of time coming along with her for the last 2 months. So on behalf of the Cookson family, I'd like to welcome everyone to my mom's celebration of life. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the people that have traveled a great distance to be here today with us. Firstly, Kenny, where's Kenny? Kenny over there, has flown in from Fort Lauderdale to escape the crazy heat and humidity of Florida, only to enjoy our heat and humidity. But if the truth be known, he really wanted to be here to flaunt the fact that his team just won the Stanley Cup for the first time in history. Dave Kenny. When I went to Air Canada, the rivals to pick him up, it was very, very busy, but it was so easy to pick Kenny up. He was all decked out, head to toe, proudly wearing a flaming red Stanley Cup Champs Panthers t-shirt and a matching cap and a suitcase with a Panthers logo. Okay, maybe didn't have I also want to thank Blair for coming in from Quebec and Louise flying in from Halifax. Thanks for your time in doing that, your effort and expense of being able to do that. We also have a longtime friend of my parents here with us today, Lois. Lois is here today, and she's known my mom and dad for probably over 60 years. Good to see you, Lois. Living a long and healthy life is very rewarding, but when you live to 95, you tend to live all your lifelong friends. And then you start making new friends along the way. Thankfully, that is something my mom and dad had no problem doing. Socializing with friends was always a priority for my mom and dad. Today is our day to celebrate Muriel and Doreen Cookson, born January 8, 1929, and was the wife of James William Muriel. Do we have any more? Okay, Cookson, or as we fondly know him as just Bob, who she met while enjoying a night of roller skating in 1946, and then they went on to marry May 23rd, 1951. She is the mother to Colleen, Gary, Paul, and myself, grandmother to Jason, Joel, Megan, Melanie, Emma, Corinne, Holly, the second Melanie, and Stephen. She was a great grandmother to Gemma, Max, and Kate. My mom and dad recently celebrated their historic 73rd wedding anniversary. Just recently, my mom was in the hospital. As you can all appreciate, it's very difficult to lose anyone in your life. Never mind your dear wife of 73 years. This has been very difficult for all of us, especially for my dad, who's having a very difficult time getting through today. Everything he does triggers his emotions. Everything is a reminder of our mom. We're trying to stay as close to him and distracted as possible. Please make sure you go and say hi to him. He would really appreciate it. We have a few people that want to say a few words. And if anyone wants to come up afterwards and share a memory and have my mom, feel free to come up. I'm not sure the order we want to go. Did we want to start with Stephen? Gary? No? Okay. Dad, do you want to come up? So this is my dad. He wants to say a few words. It will not be easy for him to get through this, but he likes to talk, so that's good. And so this is Bob with one up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is there any more seats for people with the views that are standing down there? Anyway, welcome to the celebration of Muriel's life. I met Muriel at the Mutual Street Arena down in Toronto, roller skating. We had a very active period at that time. We both were 17 years old. She had jet black hair and pretty eyes. I asked her to go dancing at Casaloma. We both laughed as I had to wear my father's overcoat to the dance. We were only kids. We laughed a lot, like the time I took her fishing in a leaking boat. She kept her feet up on the seat when a fish was thrown into the boat bottom. We always enjoyed each other's company. Muriel lived at Coxwell and Danforth Avenue, if anybody knows where that is. And I lived in Port Credit. It took one bus and 2 streetcars to see her. That's going and going home. My parents were very anxious to meet my new girlfriend, who lived so far away. My parents finally met Muriel in the beginner's rink at the Mutual Street Arena. It's the only way they found each other together. 5 years later, we were married at 22. Over time, 4 kids were born. Muriel had her own desk. She liked looking after things. She was always always well organized, and had her own bank account. She knew how to control money, which I was thankful for. Her major enjoyment was family. And when you consider family, Muriel was always busy with birthday parties when the kids were growing up. Christmas time, she was always busy with gifts and food. Friends. Muriel was happiest among friends. Only 4 left, and some of them are here today, thank goodness, and I welcome you here. Of our original friends, moved to a Stouffville condo and found more friends. And thank you very much for being here, you guys in the condo. Parties. Is this too loud or am I? Pardon? Is it coming okay? My hearing aids, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. Perfect. Parties. She liked parties. We put on organized parties in the rec room where we lived. When we first moved into our first house, we had parties with the neighbors all the time. When we moved into the second house, we were doing the same thing. Some of our friends would do the same thing. It was party, 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 party. And she enjoyed parties. Camping was another thing that we enjoyed. We started with a tent. Now people realize what that's like. The bedding isn't very comfortable. Mosquitoes are bad usually. Then we went to a Scotty trailer, which was only a 15-foot job, and traveled a long distance with that trailer. A larger trailer followed, and at the very end, we got a GMC truck and a fifth wheel. Camping was great again. There was room and it was easy to tow. We had a membership in Thousand Trails for 30 years. If anybody would like to know what Thousand Trails is, you can look it up on the internet. And it's a great place to get established where all the camping is. We spent winters in Florida and the last 16 years in Palm Springs. Entertaining she liked. Muriel organized every Sunday. We would have company. Visiting, we enjoyed as well. When we were not entertaining, we would be visiting. This was all done by Muriel, who kept the weekends busy. That's what I liked about her. And in between weekends, too, it was busy. I enjoyed that, too. Traveling. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, we were in every province. We have visited every state in the USA due to being able to travel with a trailer. I mentioned games. She loved games, and most of you here that know, we were always into games, and we were promoting games. Campers in the evening when you were away down in Florida and Palm Springs, they were always looking for a place to go in the games room so we could play games. We learned more about games from different people we met, and we brought them back here to Canada. easy to play game. This was Muriel's specialty. Seldom did she ever turn it down. The next person to her never got a chance to pick anything up. She always, even though that she never turned us down, he always came out a winner. I still don't know what her secret was. Muriel did herself proud and made a speech to 350 people at the Roy York bus. Somebody here might know that time. There you go, Bruce. Enjoyment came down from doing things together. During 73 years of marriage, your husband Bob, that's me. Your daughter Colleen, where are you going? Your 3 sons, Gary, Glenn, Paul, and friends showed their heartfelt love. For you during the 67 days. You were in the Oshawa Hospital. You showed us the way your love transcended on all of us. Her lovely, strong principles that you lived your life by. I speak your name with pride, Muriel. You have filled all mine. You have filled all my dreams. My gratitude to each of my kids for the major contributions they've made to this celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad. That's very good. The next speaker will be Paul, my brother. Paul's probably really the favorite son. But he's also the youngest, so that makes him the baby. So.
I want to play a video. It's a 5-minute video. Oh, here we go. Before I talk, I want to play a 5-minute video that I made for my mom. It's called A Wonderful Life.
Colors and promise.
It's much appreciated. This truly shows how much my mom was loved, and we're here to celebrate a life, a very special life. My mom, Muriel Cookson. I consider myself very lucky to have had her as a mother. I want to thank my dad for finding her and being smart enough to marry her. Good work, Dad. You're a pretty smart guy. My mom lived to be 95 years old. Just that makes her special. The average lady lives to be 85 in Canada. So she outlived a lot of people. I wrote out bullet points, and I'm just going to speak to each point. I'll do my best not to cry through this thing. That's going to be difficult. As already has been said, my mom was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Both her parents were born in Scotland. My mom loved to laugh. She loved to laugh. We laughed all the time. And when she would laugh, she would crunch up her nose. And it was the cutest thing watching her laugh. And like Glenn was saying, we used to always kid around with my mom and say crazy things and get her laughing. And it was really special. We have many special memories of making my mom and my dad laugh, which I'm grateful for. My mom loved to give advice. Some of it was typical advice like brush your teeth, stand up straight, be polite, be honest, and don't be a dick. She also, to reinforce brushing your teeth, she'd pull out her dentures and say, you don't want to be like me, you better brush your teeth. Growing up, my mom took me everywhere. I was a baby. She took me everywhere. She'd take me to bowling. She'd take me to her ceramic things, making her ceramics. She'd take me to the mall. And I used to love it. We used to have a lot of fun. My mom was a social butterfly. She loved people. She loved everybody. She loved getting together with people and playing games. She just absolutely loved it. Funny story, when I was little, my mom took me to Wolco in Shepherd Avenue. And I was pretty proud of myself. I stole these dinky cars. And I thought, wow, this is cool. I put all these dinky cars in my pocket. And I got home with them, and I was really proud to say, hey, Mom, look at these dinky cars I got. This is great. And I pulled them out on the table. She was mortified. She's like, what? Are you nuts? She grabbed me by the ear, took me to the car, drove me back to the store, asked for the manager, and said, my son needs to speak to the manager. And here I am. I thought everything was great until the manager came out and told me that I could be arrested. And anyway, so that's where I learned how to be honest. It was actually a couple weeks ago. My mom and I drove, so funny story. So I was all excited to get my license when I was 16, and my dad's like, what's the rush? Like, are you gonna buy a car? You're not driving my car. So I was like, what do you mean? All the other kids, they drive their parents' cars. Like, well, how come I can't? The only way you can drive your car, my car, is if you take Mom with you. So I took Mom everywhere. Mom, where do you want to go? You need to go to the store? I'll take you. Mom, anywhere you want to go, let's go. I was her personal chauffeur. And I loved it. We had so many laughs driving around the neighborhood. Anytime she wanted to go for a spin, I was there. I would take her. No problem. My mom was the greatest cheerleader. She'd say, you can do anything you want in life, Paul. You can do anything, and you can be anything. All you gotta do is apply yourself. She would say that all the time. My mom was always in a good mood. Always in a good mood. She was always so happy. Even if things were shit, she was happy as a clam all the time. My mom was fun. That's a humor. I used to like to kid around with her whenever we'd go to a restaurant, which was usually Swiss Chalet or the Mandarin. Whenever we go out to the restaurant, I'd say to the waiter, "This is my mom, she made me. And this is my dad, he helped." And my mom she would just be embarrassed, but she just rolled her eyes and she would laugh. And I would do it all the time, and it was fun for me. My mom would never say she hated something. She would never say she hated something. She would say, "I don't love that." And I'd say to my mom, you hate this, you hate. "No, Mom, I just don't love it." I never heard her say that she hated anything. And I tried. "But you hate that." "No, I just don't love it." It's the funniest thing. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get her to hate anything. Anyway, my mom adored my dad. They were married 73 years. They always held hands. They always flirted and laughed and complimented each other. They loved to snuggle. If you wanted role models for the perfect couple, that's what they were. It's a true love story. And if anybody is here from Disney, we can discuss the movie rights at 5 o'clock. Just outside there. My mom loved hugging. I'll miss her hugs. She was a hugger. I think that's where I got it from. My mom was like a nurse. She wore a lot of hats. I remember coming home. I remember going to the hospital after a couple of kids threw me into the wall head first. My mom met me at the hospital, and she had to wake me up every hour to make sure I was okay, and she'd give me painkillers, and she nursed me back to 100%. Mom was always there. She was always there. Mom loved her kids. She loved seeing her kids. My mom was an only child, and she wanted a big, happy family to make up for that. She always said it was lonely being an only child, and she wanted to have lots of kids. So she had 3 boys and a daughter. My mom was very proud of her family. She was so full of love. I remember staying a couple of winters ago for Christmas. I stayed at my mom and dad's condo. And the next morning I had to get up at 5 in the morning to drive to Florida. I wanted to get up early and get on the road. And I got up quietly because I didn't want to wake everybody up at 5 in the morning. So I got up quietly and I was tiptoeing around the condo. And all of a sudden there's my mom. And we had breakfast together. I said, "Mom, did I wake you up? I'm sorry, did I wake you up?" She said, "No, I wanted to say goodbye, Mom. I wanted to say goodbye to you before you left." My mom was a positive person. She was a friendly person. Well, I'll tell you, my mom was tough. My mom was tough. I never saw my mom cry. Never saw my mom cry in my whole life. And when she was told at one point that she had probably 3 weeks to live, she didn't cry. She didn't really show much emotion about it. She was freaking steady Eddie. And my dad wasn't so much that way. My dad's very emotional, and he was crying after we heard the news. And my mom looked at him and said, "If you don't shut up, I'm going to throw you out the window." And she pointed at the window. My dad's like, "But I love you. I love you so much. I'm going to miss you. If you don't shut up, you're out the window." It was unbelievable. "Stop crying, Robert. Stop crying." She was tough. She was tough. My mom loved, as you've heard by everybody, my mom loved to play euchre, and it used to be funny because she'd be over playing euchre, and it'd be 11 o'clock at night, and my dad would say, "Muriel, we should get going. It's getting late, Muriel. We should get going." "Robert, we're going to play again." "Stop it, Robert." "But Muriel, it's getting late." "Stop it, we're playing some more." So she would get her way, and we would play. My mom loved playing pegs and jokers. I don't know if much of you who knows what that is, but I'm not sure how to describe it. It's a little game. You use cards and that. She absolutely loved that. My mom loved Swiss Chalet. In fact, I was looking at the flowers, and I was surprised we didn't get flowers from Swiss Chalet. For years, a lot of money was spent there, so we should maybe complain to their head office about My mom also loved the Mandarin. She loved, you're probably getting the idea, she liked to eat. My mom loved cream soda and root beer. Funny story about that. She did love that, but my dad had my mom on a pretty strict, healthy regimen of, you gotta eat your vegetables. I don't want you to eat French fries. And it's probably the reason that my mom lasted to be 95, because my dad was he's very health conscious. And so funny story about cream soda. The only time she would usually get cream soda was when they'd come to my house for dinner, and I'd have cream soda for her. And I'd say, Mom, do you want a cream soda? And my dad didn't have the heart to say no, and I'd give her a cream soda or a root beer. My mom loved to winter in Florida for years and years and years. They wintered in Florida. How many years, Dad? How many years did you go to Florida? 15?
In Florida?
Yeah,
We were 16 in California. We must have been 30 in no.
So 30 years in Florida and 16 years in Palm Springs. My mom loved to travel. We were all very lucky that 3 times they took us on a family vacation, a cruise vacation. The first one was the Caribbean, the second one was an Alaska cruise, and the third one was the Panama Canal cruise. And we had so many special memories, and my favorite memories was at dinner time, because we'd all be kidding around and laughing and joking, and we had so many memories. Now, back to food. I just remembered, this wasn't in my speech, but I want to tell this story. Growing up, when I was younger, I was a baby, and everybody else moved out probably when I was 10, or I forget. But when I was, I guess, 1 to 10, there would be, if steak was being served, if I turned my head for a minute, my steak would be gone. 1 minute my steak would be there, and all of a sudden my steak would be gone. I have, so it runs in the family is my point. We love food. Losing a parent is probably the saddest thing that could happen to a person. Anyone in the room, I would advise you to spend as much time with your parents if you still have them. Love your parents, call your parents, write your parents, go see your parents. This is the saddest day of my life. And the only thing that gets me through this is knowing that I spent a lot of time with my mom and my dad, and I'm going to continue to obviously see my dad, but love your parents, call your parents, see your parents, enjoy them while you have them, because when they're gone, it'll be too late. My last message is a message to my beautiful mom. If you're listening, Mom, I know I told you many times that I love you, but I love you so much. I'll always love you. I'm proud to be your son. And one day I will see you again. I will see you again one day. And that gives me comfort. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks for having me.
Next speaker is brave little boy. It's Gary's son, Stephen, whose first language is actually Spanish. And he got to share some time with my mom in the hospital, which she met him for the first time at that time. So he wants to come up and say a few words in English. So he's been practicing very hard for this.
Hi everybody. My name is Esteban.
Hi, Stephen.
Today I talk for the lady my grandmother in the hospital. When we met, my grandmother stroked my head, ran her fingers through my hair. What a beautiful family. My head was in the cloud. I felt love, secure and safe. This feeling remained with me today. My dad made special delicious soup for her. We gave the food was greeted with, oh my God, 5 people. When we found something that she liked, she would say, I was a good boy, squeeze my hands. She said, I could find a good chica, a good woman. I told her, I told myself, I don't need a girlfriend. Grandmother said, I found your grandfather when I was 17 years old. That's only 4 years away from you, Stephen. I told her grandfather was very lucky to find you. We enjoyed each other. We talked, went to the park, played ball. I told her some Spanish. Her unconditional love touched me in the short months I was with her. The one is for you, Ramon.
That was amazing, Steve. Very good. Next up is Curry, which is Stephen's father and our mother.
Yeah, this is Gary. I'm number 1 in the family. That was very well done, Stephen. Very proud of you. Stephen and my mother got along great. When he got off the plane from Cuba, we went to the hospital. They met. My mother was so happy, so cheerful. She was smiling from ear to ear. My son and her, they played ball, they chatted. He taught her some Spanish. Him and my mother had a great time. She enjoyed him massaging her hand, feeding her, giving her drinks. They really hit it off the whole time until she passed. And we're going to miss her dearly. Talking about hot dogs, seems to be the theme today. But she did love hot dogs, and she was always asking for Costco's hot dogs. And she couldn't eat the hot dogs in the hospital because she was on a special diet. And my son wanted to sneak them in, and he was not allowed. But anyhow, Colleen tried mushing up the hot dog in a machine, and she hated it. She hated the taste of it. It wasn't the same when it was on a bun. But she also liked grilled cheese. And growing up, I would have my friends over to the house for whatever reason, and we'd all get together. And she would always say, "Do you want a hot dog, or do you want a grilled cheese sandwich with onions?" Grilled cheese with onions was one of the favorites of all my friends, and we ate a lot of them. And she always loved cooking for us, me and my friends. In fact, a friend of mine just sent a message that we used to help my mom and dad. This is from Chris Fairley. He sent a message that's saying, when your brother Gary and I were in grade 8 or 9, we wanted to make some extra money. Your mom painted fancy soap parts, and Gary and I went door to door selling them. Needless to say, we didn't get rich, but we had fun, and I experienced her kindness with grilled cheese and hot dogs. My mom loved cooking. And whenever the smoke alarm went off, we knew dinner was ready. We got on. She was a great housekeeper. She kept the house clean, neat, tidy, organized all the time. And she took care of a lot of money issues, which my dad loved. But sometimes my dad would have to leave. He'd have to go hunting or fishing. And she would say, kids, get in the car. Whoever was there, we get in the car, sometimes with Lois, sometimes with Aunt Joan, whoever, and we go to New Era on the Danforth and buy furniture or anything that she loved because she could get away with it. And she would tell us, don't say anything to your dad, he won't even notice. Sometimes my dad would come home and go to sit in the chair. But yeah, she had her way of getting around things, and yeah, she did spend money, but not when he was looking. One time when my dad was hunting, I saw this ad for a car in the newspaper. It was an old beater. The engine didn't work, but I thought, well, I can put an engine in it. I just gotta get it home. So my mom had this old beat up Vauxhall that hardly could move, but anyhow, I hooked a tow bar out to that Vauxhall. And we went and we picked up that car. And when my dad came home from hunting, he went crazy. He said, how did you get that here? And Mom says, don't be like that. I brought it here. The car. And it was time to get my license, so I got my 365. And Mom and I would be going out in the old Vauxhall. We'd put a couple dollars worth of gas in, and we'd root all over the place. The deal was, I'd take her to all the shopping centers. And I would get my time in the car driving the 365. She was very loving, very kind, very understanding, very obliging. She's just a beautiful, wonderful mother. She was also she was a risk taker. My dad mentioned about the Scotty trailer. We did a lot of camping trips in that Scotty trailer. We went everywhere. One day we were at the campsite, and I brought my mini bike with me. And she says, I want to try that thing. So I said, well, Mom, you got to be careful. It's pretty powerful. So she gets on the bike, and I told her how to use the throttle. But she confused the throttle for the brake. And she got on it, and she went flying right into the nearest tree, and she fell over, and oh, she was in agony for months, and I never heard the end of it. She had a great memory. She could remember everything that you have done. You had to be very careful that she couldn't see any mischief that you were up to, because it wouldn't be forgotten. She remembered everybody's faces. She could remember a face going back 40 years. She'd meet people in the stores or in the malls or wherever. See, I know that person, and she'd go up to them and they'd say, yeah, that's me. I used to live on the Danforth. She lived at Danforth in Cookson area. She had a great memory. She was a landlady most of her life. We had rental units in the house and everywhere. And she managed the one in the house on Southampton Drive. And we had this boarder. His name was Roland Cookson, and he came in from Germany. And lo and behold, within a few months, he put a hole in the flannel sheets. And my mom went crazy. She went down there and she told him off. Why did you put a hole in the sheets? I was just sleeping there. I wasn't doing anything. Anyhow, he got shit. But he came upstairs one night and said, Muriel, I got a little game I want to play with you. You got to get some plates. So she gave the put some kind of black shoe polish or something on the plate. He did something. Anyhow, the lights had to go off, and everybody was sitting around the table, and you had to touch the plate, rub your hands around it, and then you had to touch your face, resto, and before the end of the night, my mother was black. It was, that's how he got back at her. My mother and I were very close. We talked every day. I loved chatting with my mother. We could talk about anything at all. And she was a great listener. She was very kind. She offered great advice. She was a very best mother you could ask for. Very loving whenever you were sick. She'd be there with a bowl of chicken soup if you had a cold, or the vaporizer in your bedroom if you had a stuffy nose or something. She was always there for us growing up. She loved family. Family was the most important thing to her. And we're going to miss her sadly. She was a great mother. Very empathetic, very supportive. It's nice to see some of the friends of hers that I haven't seen in years. Lois came. She used to be friends with my mother in Southampton, Scarborough. Also, Lorraine and Richard used to play cards with my mom and dad up in Peterborough, and they would call me to go over and I'd play with them. They were really into the cards, and they were good friends for many, many, many years. Shirley Inward from Peterborough, she came down today to pay tribute. It's nice to see all these faces going way back. You can tell my mother made a mark on everybody. She was an angel. I love you.
Very good, Gary. If anybody has any memories or stories they want to tell, you're more than welcome to come up. So I think Paul he just remembered some story that happened. Do you want to? Yeah.
Hopefully it's as cute. Hopefully the story is as cute for you guys as it is for me. When I was in my 20s, we used to go to a bar called Footloose in Markham on Monday nights. It was $1 for beers. So my buddies would come, they'd meet at my house, we'd shoot over to Footloose, and we'd come home at, when bars end, 1:30 or whatever it was. And my mom would hear us coming in, and we'd be trying to be quiet, and I guess we weren't quiet enough. My mom would speak over the railing and say, "Is that you, Paul? Oh, Mom, did we wake you? I'm sorry. Oh, it's fine." And she'd throw her house coat on, and she'd come down 1:30, 2 in the morning, 2:30. Gary talking about my mom making food reminded me of that story. And she'd come down and she'd say, "What do you guys want? Do you want bacon and eggs? Do you want peanut butter and toast, grilled cheese? What do you guys want?" And she would make some tea, and she'd make us dinner. And my one of my close friends flew in recently, Andy Gribble. We've been buddies since kindergarten. And fairly often when we talk pretty often, but he would always remark about, "Do you remember she used to get up at the crazy hours of the night and make us food?" She'd be like, some parents would be like, "What the hell are you doing down there, you idiots?" But not my mom. She'd be making us food. Anyway, thank you again so much for everybody coming here today. We all very much appreciate it. Thank you.
The name Cheeks was my mom's nickname. Based on certain things. Does anybody want to come up and say anything? Any word? Any sharing stories? Dwayne, did you want to? Okay. So that concludes the speeches for today. Thank everybody. Really appreciate you coming all this way on a beautiful day and sharing your time with us. My dad, the family appreciates it. Thank you very much.